Good afternoon, folks. What is going on, door? Okay. Good afternoon. It is a wonderful 70-something day, and I tried to film some stuff on the last nice day in the fall. I went for a ride, got a bunch of footage, and then came back and realized that there was a big old dead bug right in the middle of my GoPro. So I did not want to post that, and I just waited it out all winter. So this, as you can see, is not my Kawasaki. We'll get into that. That, as you can see, is not the 300E that my stepson was driving. That is a square body. We'll get into that as well. So let's go for a drive here. Awfully windy today, but I will take it because it's the warmest day we've had since last fall. It's absolutely beautiful out. Okay, so let me tell you first and foremost, it's just an update. I am absolutely hooked on motorcycling. It is everything that I thought it would be and more. And awfully windy. I got a windsock on this thing. I hope it's not coming through too bad. But the Kawasaki was a great starter bike. There was nothing, nothing going on with it, nothing wrong with it. It was just it was time to upgrade and time to get something that was a little bit more comfortable for long trips. I took a ride to Rulo, Nebraska with some friends, and we kind of took back highways, some 2-lane blacktops and stuff like that. It ended up being maybe close to an hour and a half up there, and then maybe about that back. But I realized quickly that the Kawasaki is just not, it's not a long distance bike, and it wasn't meant to be. So that's okay. I'm not bashing the ER6N. Like I said, it was a wonderful starter bike, a wonderful bike to learn on, but it was just not in its element to take it on longer trips. So 3-4 hour rides round trip were definitely not going to be doable with any sense of enjoyment from me. So I upgraded to this, which is a 2007 BMW F800ST. It is a sport touring bike. Leans a little bit more into the sport versus the touring, but it does have a very comfortable seat. It does have upright bars. It is quite comfortable to take on longer trips, and I've done a couple of out-of-town trips on this since switching over from the Kawasaki, and it does a wonderful job. And I'm not going to do a full review on this right now because I don't want to make a 25-minute long video. I have other things to talk about. I will film and post a personal review of this bike at some point in the near future. Maybe I might even film it today. So that post will be coming soon if it's not already up. So yeah. Kawasaki is gone. I've upgraded to this, and as you can see, the Mercedes 300E is gone. So where we live now, and I was just leaving my house there, where we live now is not a good place for a 17-year-old in a rear-wheel drive sedan to be driving around in the winter months. So late last fall, he's been wanting a square body forever. So late last fall, he found one, and we sold the 300E to a gentleman in Kansas City, and let me tell you, I couldn't be more pleased with the home that car went to. He was a very generous, very nice guy. Also seemed to be very well educated on older Mercedes vehicles. I think that car is going to be in very good hands, and we put a lot of work in that thing. A lot of work. More than we wanted to, let me just put it that way. Certainly didn't anticipate getting into head gasket issues and all of that, water pump and what have you, all the things that we had to do. So a lot of work, a lot of money. It was an experience, to put it nicely. I'll just say it was an experience. But you know, we ended up obviously taking a pretty big loss on that car, which is not something that you want to do. Part of the appeal to me whenever you're buying classic Mercedes is that, hey, it's never going to be worth less than it is today, right? They're always gaining in value. So that's kind of the appeal. Well, when you get a good deal on one like that, it's not. I mean, I paid $4,000 for that car. It had 71,000 miles on it, and it was seemingly perfect condition. You definitely don't expect to lose money on it, but after all the... Now, we were able to sell it for a little bit more than that. Obviously, the receipts showing all the work done and the things that we did to it, things like that. You know, it had a little scratch on the passenger side front fender that turned into rust. We replaced the entire fender. So just all the things combined that were done to that car. Yeah, we ended up taking a bath on it, that's for sure. But he wanted a square body. Don't ask me why. The square bodies have a cult following, and I'm not part of that cult. I'll never understand it. I think they're decent looking trucks, you know. But to me, there's just not, for what you pay for, a square body just doesn't really deliver much of anything for me. You know, so I won't get it. I have two motorcycles now. I have this, and I have a Triumph Bonneville that we'll do a separate review on that Triumph Bonneville, kind of an ownership review, if you will, on a separate video sometime. Won't be able to do that today. And there are a lot of people that probably look at my situation and say, well, why on earth would you own two motorcycles? Some people think, why would you own one motorcycle? Well, they serve different purposes, and we won't get into that right now, because I actually want a third and maybe a fourth and perhaps a fifth. I want all the motorcycles. I want to collect the whole set, if you will. I'm hooked. I'm addicted. It's so much fun. I've probably put, I don't know, somewhere around 6,000 miles on motorcycles, and I started right about a year ago. It was last spring when I bought the Kawasaki, and I got my endorsement on my license, and I've been doing it ever since. I ride pretty much every good weather chance that I get. I haven't ridden in any rain or anything like that. Typically, I mean, I'm not a hardcore biker. I'm not going to Sturgis or anything like that. I just really enjoy, you know, going for rides. It's like nothing I've ever done before. So much fun. But yeah, so he has the square body now, and as you can imagine, a 40-plus-year-old truck that wasn't particularly well cared for. It's been interesting, put it that way. It has been an experience. It has been super interesting. There's always things to do, things to fix, things that need to be done, and the problem with that is when you're dealing with a 17-year-old kid, he doesn't want to do those things, right? He wants to do what he wants to do. He's not interested in fixing things that actually need to be fixed. He would prefer to get a lift kit and get wheels and tires and do all these things and get a subwoofer. And I was 17 once too, but I also, you know, when I was that age, I wasn't the type that was going to be okay with driving around a vehicle with that many problems. You know, I definitely tried to work through all the problems and make it as close to perfect as I could. But everybody's different, right? And he's 17, so I have to be patient about that, and I have to understand that, you know, maybe his priorities aren't going to be necessarily where they should. But that's the deal with the Mercedes. So the 300E is gone. It is absolutely no longer with us. It is in a good home. Couldn't be more happy, and I think that car will live on and continue to give years of service under its new ownership. So very pleased about that. Wow, it seems like not that long ago, you know, I posted that video where I was driving in traffic. My goodness, it is windy today, blowing me all over the place. I posted that video where I was riding in traffic for the first time, and now, you know, I've done it so much that it's just kind of second nature, and I don't really have any anxiety when it comes to traffic anymore. I'm just, it's more natural. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about, guys, is, you know, I posted that video and I definitely didn't want to scare anybody, like, hey, this is gonna be, that's kind of why I posted a follow-up video, the one where I kind of talked about, should you be intimidated by motorcycles? You should never be intimidated, but you should always respect, you know, the situation that you're in. Always respect the fact that the car is always going to win, right? The car, the truck, the four-wheeled vehicle or 18-wheeled vehicle, what have you, it's always going to win. So you absolutely have to look out for them as much as you're looking out for what you're doing. So ride like you're invisible, and make sure that you're always aware of your surroundings. You're always checking your mirrors to see who's behind you, always have an escape route planned, all of that. So certainly was not my intent to intimidate anyone, to scare anybody about riding in traffic, because it washes out very, very quickly. That anxiety washes out. I had a lot of anxiety. Some people may not, I don't know, but I had a lot of anxiety about getting out here and getting in, you know, these situations where there's just traffic around you a lot. And let me tell you, probably the second or third time that I went out in traffic, it got to the point where it was just natural. It was just part of the journey, and I wasn't at all worried about, you know, doing the wrong things in traffic, because that's a lot of the intimidation for me, or the anxiety, if you will, for me, was that I wasn't necessarily, I didn't have that muscle memory. I wasn't as experienced on a motorcycle as I wanted to be. Keep in mind, it had been 10 years since I had been on two wheels, and back then it was a Suzuki RM250, so I had never been on anything, you know, in traffic, any sort of road bike. You got a turn lane, so maybe use the turn lane. Yeah, so I'd never been on a motorcycle in traffic, and I was worried that, you know, what happens if I stall it in the middle of a busy intersection? What happens if, you know, if I miss a gear, is somebody going to rear end me? You know, just all those crazy things where it's like, you know, it could happen. No matter how unlikely, you're always worried that it could happen. And, yeah, so that was kind of the reason why I was a little anxious about getting out in traffic. But, you know, since then, it is easily washed out, and I have become so much more comfortable in traffic. And now, coming up to intersections like this one here, where you have obviously a lot of traffic, you know, there's no anxiety anymore. It's very natural now, and I just want to kind of go, you know. Before it was, you know, it was this point where whenever I hit a red light, I almost kind of felt relief, because it's like, okay, now I can stop and kind of, I can relax a little bit, and I can take a breather, and I can think about what I'm doing. And now it's gotten to the point where, like I am in a four-wheeled vehicle, I'm impatient, and I just want it to be green, because I just want to go, right? So no more worrying about all that other stuff. So, but yeah, so there's the update on that. I have an issue with the CLK430, and it seems to be kind of a common issue, where you can drive it for about 15 minutes and it'll just randomly shut off sometimes. So I don't have the Star Diagnostics computer or anything. It wasn't showing a code or anything anyway, so I actually took it to an indie mechanic and had them troubleshoot it, and they hooked their computer up to it, and they diagnosed it as a bad EIS module, which is the electronic ignition system. It is a theft deterrent device, basically what communicates with the key and the computer of the car. So that is something that they can't do, which sucks. So I had to kind of figure out a way to get it home because it, you know, it was dying and stuff like that. So, but I got it home. It's at home now. I need to pull that. I got to pull the dash apart and get that ignition module out of there. And there is actually a place that I'm going to send it off to. And I'm going to send it off and have them rebuild it. And hopefully that'll be the end of the issues with that. And to be honest with you, I'll probably sell it. So that is a very nice 2000 CLK430 sub 100,000 mile car. If anybody would be interested in buying that, hit me up in the comments. And if you're anywhere local to the Midwest, I'm in Northwest Missouri. I work in Northeast Kansas. I'm northeast of St. Joseph, so we're, you know, 45 minutes to 50 minutes away from Kansas City, Missouri. But we're right on the river, right on the Kansas border. So if anybody's local to where we live at all, and you're interested in buying that car, honestly, other than this issue, it's been a great car. And I've put, what have I put, 12,000 miles on it, I think. 12 or 13,000 miles. My stepson even drove it for a little while his car was down last summer. But then it started doing this, and honestly, it's just to the point where I can't. It's frustrating to me because when I buy 20-plus-year-old vehicles, I buy them because those are the vehicles that I am comfortable working on. I feel comfortable doing anything to those vehicles, and the more modern vehicles, like my 2021 pickup, I wouldn't be comfortable working on anything of that, right? Nothing. So, but when I buy a vehicle that's that old, and then it turns around and has an issue that I can't rebuild it. Like, you have to have all this equipment to hook up to communicate, to program the keys, and luckily there are people that can do it. Otherwise, I would be hosed, and I'd be spending $2,000 at the dealership. That's right, $2,000, according to my indie mechanic. I did not call the dealership, but the indie mechanic said there are places that can do this for $100, $200, something like that. Or you can contact the dealer, but the dealer is not going to rebuild it. The dealer is going to sell you a new module and new keys, and they'll install it and program it and all that, and it's going to be about $2,000. That's frustrating to me, right? On a vehicle, on a 2000 vehicle, that, you know, we can't do anything better than that we can't remedy some of those common issues any better than that. That's frustrating. So I probably will. I'll probably walk away from it and just have a different daily driver. Right now I've just been driving my truck. So, but yeah, we'll get that fixed, and we'll kind of update everything on the channel once we get that fixed. But I wanted to kind of talk to everybody about what's going on with the 300E being gone, and the Kawasaki being gone, and this BMW. And I'm going to go ahead and shoot a video on this BMW, and then we'll be able to post it up. I'll post it up back to back with the video that I'm recording right now, and we will get those things going hopefully today, and get it posted up. You guys will be able to watch them. That's all I've got. Just a quick update. Like I said, we're gonna go shoot this video and get kind of a personal ownership review done on this thing. And yeah, I will talk to you then. Everybody, enjoy your day.